Hey everybody, welcome back to the You Must Be Bored podcast. This is Devin, broadcasting out of Austin, Texas on an August 25th, 2025, a Monday. And I don't know what I'm going to talk about tonight. I hope you guys have had a good week since the last time I broadcast on this frequency. A lot has happened, both in the public life and in my private life between the last time I recorded and now. And it's kind of, I didn't do a good job of keeping track of like topics of things to talk about, which I try to do. I try to do at least that much, but didn't have the best week last week. There was a lot of physical ailment happening that I was trying to get over. I think I mentioned that. On Monday. It hit me last Saturday, and by that Monday, I thought I was over it, but I was not over it. It hit with a vengeance. It came back with a vengeance on Wednesday, and really put me out of commission. I was at work, and it flared up and made my back and my shoulder hurt so bad I had to leave. I had to leave work. So here's what happened. I'm sitting at my desk. I'm in so much pain. It's distracting me from being able to do anything at all. And so I'm like, all right, guys, I'm going to finish this task I'm working on. And then I got to call it for the day because I got to go take a painkiller, and lie down for a bit. So I did that and I was driving home, which is a long drive from my office. As I am driving home, my car starts to stutter, and it's like, and then the check engine light pops on. It's like the worst possible time for something like this to happen. And I was already planning on taking my car into the shop anyways, because it's been making this weird kind of rubbing, scraping noise underneath it. I thought it was the brakes for a second. I thought it was the brakes. So I was already planning on taking it in, but now it was like, okay, now this has to go in. But I've talked about this before. I live in such a crazy remote area that bringing it in and not having a car means I'm stranded. Like, there's nothing in walking distance. There are no buses that come out here. There's nothing. In fact, so what happened was I was able to drive my car the rest of the way home. I had to go super slow, but I managed to drive it home. And I was like, you know what? I have AAA. I'm gonna call them and have them tow it to the shop I always take it to. So I called. Well, I was going to call AAA when I realized that my AAA coverage had lapsed. So I was like, shit. Well, now's a good time to re-up on that. And luckily, I was still in a window where they were offering me a deal to renew. So I did it. I was like, all right, this needs to happen anyways. It'll be cheaper for me to pay for this 1-year membership at this discounted rate than it would be for me to just call a tow truck on my own. So I did that, had them come out, and they towed it. And I called the shop and I told them, like, all right, so I'm bringing it in because of the check engine light thing, but also there's this weird scraping, and I think it might be the brakes, blah, blah, blah. Told them that. And they were like, all right, we'll look at everything. So I'm sitting there without a car. And where I'm at, nothing in the area. There's the grocery store we have nearby is a Mexican supermarket, which is fine. It's more expensive than the H-E-B that I usually go to. But it's, even still, that's not in walking distance. Not really. It would be like maybe an hour, probably about an hour 20-minute walk. One way. So it'd be like 2 hours in the scorching Texas heat to walk to that supermarket and back. And that's like the closest thing. There's no pharmacy. There's no hospital. There's no grocery store. There are no bus lines. No buses go out that way. There's nothing. So being without a car just meant that I was completely and totally stranded. And one of those nights, I was like, you know what? I've been eating soup. I've been taking it easy. I've been trying not to like overburden my body, which I definitely did not heed that advice tonight because I just wolfed down 5 homemade tacos. I make I make tacos way too damn good. I make them too good. I got to start shitting them up a little so I don't want so many at once. But back then last week, I was easing up. I was like, all right, I'm just gonna take it light, etc. But after I'd been doing that pretty much since Saturday, so on Thursday was when Wednesday was when I drove home, etc. Thursday was when I had it towed. Thursday night, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna try to. I don't want soup anymore. I'm gonna get a pizza. I'm gonna order a pizza. So there used to be a pizza place by my house, and it was awesome. It was one of the best pizza places in Austin, honestly. But they shut down, and that's a real big blow to this area because it was also like it was also a bar. It was the only place it was the only restaurant in the area too, aside from like some fairly terrible Chinese place. So once it closed down, big blow. And I was like, well, I can't get pizza there. Where can I? I had to pop open my Grubhub, and I had 2 options for pizza in Grubhub. Well, first I tried to order Domino's, and they were like, we don't deliver to your area. And I figured if I had gone down the Rolodex of delivery pizza, they all would have said the same. So I had to open up my Grubhub. I had 2 options in Grubhub. Little Caesars, which I hadn't eaten since I was a kid in the 80s, and 7-Eleven. So I figured if I'm going to spend Grubhub money, and also the wait time for the Little Caesars was 83 minutes. So I was like, if I'm going to spend the Grubhub money, and have to wait 83 minutes for it, it's going to be Little Caesars. I'm not going to do that for a 7-Eleven pizza. So that was the situation I was in. And you know what? That Little Caesars pizza wasn't the worst in the world. I've definitely had worse pizzas. But that was essentially the situation that I had found myself in last week. I'm sure other things happened, but all of my energy was devoted to both not being paid and also getting my car back, which I did. I got my car back. They fixed the misfiring thing. That wasn't the issue. The problem, I mean that was the issue, but I wasn't worried about them not being able to deal with that. The real thing I was worried about was if I was going to need like my brakes replaced or anything like that. And they noted that they could not hear any kind of noise under the car. But also they noted that because when I brought my car in, the engine was misfiring, they didn't really drive it to test that because they didn't want to make the misfiring worse. So they were never really able to fully diagnose that. They took the brake. I think they took off the wheels and cleaned the brakes and stuff to try to see if that reduced noise, but it didn't. So I have my car back and it's still making that weird noise, but at least I have a car again. So I'm grateful for that. My dad just bought a new car, and I've talked about this. Like I really don't want to buy a car, because the market is just god awful for it right now. But at the same time, I kind of really do want to buy a car. I guess if my tab for this repair had been if it had broken a certain threshold, then I probably would have just sprung for a new car. But fortunately, I was able to dodge, I guess, maybe a worst case scenario with that. Cars are just way too expensive now. I don't understand how the industry even still exists. But I guess there's just a lot, like everything that all of our industries now cater exclusively to rich people. It's all about just making the wealthiest people in the planet your exclusive consumer base. And anybody else below that price tag who's priced out of it, fuck them. Like, who cares? They're too poor to worry about. And so long as you can rope in the consistency of consumership from that certain economic strata, then you can be fine. That's why everything is luxury. I guess maybe it started with apartments, when every apartment that people were building was a luxury apartment, luxury condo, luxury this, luxury that. That word really got stretched out in the Obama years. I'm drinking water. That word really got stretched out in the Obama years, but now it's everything. With gaming, AAA blockbusters, they only want to sell $80 games now, $70 games. It's like, we're gonna invest hundreds of millions of dollars building this title out that will then turn around and sell for $90 a pop, and that's just the market. Hopefully there's enough people out there, and we don't need to sell 500 million units to turn a profit. At the price point we're asking for, if we could just sell to just the right percentage of rich people out there, then we're gold. We're good. You know, cars that are $60,000, $70,000. We market it towards a very specific demographic, so we only have to sell like 5 of them. And if we sell 5, we're golden. Like, everything is moving in that direction. And I don't understand how. I guess that's a part of the collapsing society, huh? That's the shrinking of the middle class and the widening of the wealth disparity between the richest 1% and like the bottom 99%. Like, I guess all of that is kind of part and parcel. And it's weird. It's interesting to see like all the different ways that people who would otherwise not have any kind of opinion or really any commentary on this starts to kind of awaken their third eye, their class solidarity is not the word, class realization, I suppose. I talked about this on the stream the other night when I was reacting to John Campia's video regarding the rise in piracy. And his conversation with Robert Meyer Burnett about it basically devolved into like a Bernie Sanders stump speech. And I don't watch John Campia really ever at all. So I don't know what kind of dude he is, or if he talks politics at all. He strikes me as the kind of person that probably tries to avoid the subject matter for the sake of casting a wide net for his audience. But at a certain point, it becomes inevitable. At a certain point, it just becomes inevitable. You get people from all over who end up voicing these same opinions and thoughts that you would otherwise only ever expect from like some pink-haired nose ring DSA leftist. You know, like you would only ever hear these sorts of things, or you would expect to only hear these sorts of things from someone on that side of the political spectrum. But every day, more and more, just random normal ass people start sounding like they're ready for the Maoist revolution or something. And it of course that is a function of just how incredibly difficult life is increasingly becoming for people. This is a great video, actually. It's a great way to segue into this video that I just was made aware of. I just saw this right here. Some guy from Missouri is talking to his Rep Mark Alford. He's a Republican who I guess didn't get the memo. He didn't get the memo to not hold a town hall. That memo went out to Republicans a while ago, and there were some who skirted it and ended up getting roundly embarrassed. But I guess this guy maybe got the memo and disregarded it. I will give him credit, though. Maybe he did get the memo. Maybe he thought that he could game the system. He learned that the best way to deal with an angry constituent is to just shut the fuck up and let the constituent talk. Now, that doesn't mean that he comes out looking good, but I think that it does probably at least mitigate a little bit of the damage. And this guy, I'm about to play it in a second. You can hear his own words. the situation that he's dealing with has clearly pained him to the point where he wants to deal some level of political damage to his representative here. And again, this is in Blood Red, Missouri, or as this guy calls it, Missouri.
Great-great-grandfather helped open this university. I am pissed, and I'm pissed at you because I have emailed you because it's easier for me than to try to talk on the phone without profanity. I would appreciate you taking your father's U.S. Constitution book, read it, study it, make your own lines underneath it, and get Trump out of office. The man is a dictator. He knows nothing about what he talks about. I listened to him for about a half hour today, and I got sick at all the lies he brought up. Now, I'm about ready to lose my farm. Do you know why? I'm sure you don't know why.
Lose your what, sir?
Farm.
Farm?
Yeah.
Why is that, sir?
Because Missouri does not have wills. They have trust. They have legal zigzags. And a trust, most people don't know anything about. So I'm dealing with a state that's a crooked state, doesn't care about what farmers happen. The only reason why we have farmers today is because the federal government funds them. How much money of our tax money goes to farmers? Farmers work very hard, but they're funded by the federal government, not by selling groceries. That's what Foster Farms and all of those characters, that's where they get their money. The price of steaks, $20 a pound, because of big business. You want to straighten out the budget? Start taxing corporations and the wealthy, like we've been telling you. Do you think we're idiots? Do you think we don't pay taxes? Do you think that we don't have to make budgets? You talk about half-truths when I listen to you. You know nothing about taking care of children because you've always had a really good-paying job. You know nothing about what a working-class citizen does. Come down here. Come down here and start trying to pay your medical insurance. Come down here and walk into Costco to try to feed your family, to feed your kid that's moved out, to feed your great-grandchildren. I had a very good job in California, and I'm able to feed my family, and it goes all the way to great-grandchildren. You're not helping me. Believe me, you're not helping me. You need to take your head out of Trump's ass and start doing your representation of us.
Sometimes it's best just to step out of the way and let someone cook. So playing all 3 minutes and 25 seconds of that uninterrupted, I think that man deserved to cook, and he cooked up a feast there too. This isn't, and there's like a trend. This isn't the first time that a constituent at a Republican town hall in a blood red state or a blood red district said we need to tax the rich, and it was met with ruckus applause. Like, that's a common thing. That has become such a common thing now. I never thought I'd see it, but I am more than here for it. So yeah, I mean, the pain is out there, and people are expressing their angst about it. And I don't know. There's only so much of catering our society to the richest of the rich that we can do before the numbers game that is there are more poor people than there are rich people will create such a tremendous level of instability that we won't have a choice but to live in a French Revolution style barbarous upheaval, barbarous moment of unrest. I hope it doesn't come to that, but what is the other option? Honestly, I think that the internet and the mass proliferation of quote unquote treats for American society has kind of pacified people to a tremendous amount to where reaching that conclusion has been delayed. That's a part of the ballsiness, I thought, of Trump putting tariffs on cheap Chinese goods or cheap things from China, or things that benefit from cheap Chinese labor, even, because the ability to just go on to Amazon or Temu or whatever and still be able to buy cheap things, and the ability to, start up drop shipping campaign, or if you're even going to do your own kind of, well, I'm gonna make jewelry, and you buy all the components from Temu or whatever for really cheap, or I'm gonna screen print some T-shirts, and you buy the equipment off, whatever it might be. The ability to have cheap access to that sort of stuff, even if to momentarily placate your discontent, or to trick yourself into thinking that you're part of the petite bourgeoisie, and your little makeshift T-shirt printing company out of your bathroom is going to put you in the same strata as like the CEO of ExxonMobil. Getting rid of that is clearing the way for the mass level of discontent that leads to like kids playing soccer with the heads of aristocrats, which was a thing that happened in France. Well, it wasn't really soccer. I don't think soccer existed, but they were kicking heads down the street. It wasn't a good time for anyone, really. Like, the outcome may have been beneficial, but what it took to get there, not so much. It's never a fun time to get there. That's why one of Kennedy's most prescient quotes is, those who make peaceful revolution impossible make a violent revolution inevitable. The whole idea of the structure of the American government, the Constitution, and the ability to amend the Constitution via constitutional amendments and being able to change it as a living, breathing document, and the ability to change the government even, all exist so that it's easier for a political revolution that doesn't involve cutting off the heads of all the aristocrats. It's the reason why all that exists. And like, the more that psychotic fascist conservatives take away those pieces of our government that allows for peaceful revolution, the more they're just paving the way for that other thing, which, again, not fun, not good, not something anybody should ever aspire to or should ever want to see. But I mean, if you've got 70-year-old men and 70-year-old farmers in Missouri talking like they're fucking Che Guevara or close to, I guess, maybe not exactly Che, but give him another couple of years and he'll get there. You're on the bad path. You're not on the right track. This is your constituent. This guy is a farmer from Missouri. He's probably not very fond of the Clintons, right? Maybe he voted for Kamala, but maybe not. I don't know. It's a real coin toss sometimes. I would have to imagine that he would be more amiable to a conservative, given the incredible amounts of media brainwashing that has happened at the behest of conservative propaganda that portrays the conservative movement as being, for some reason, it portrays the conservative movement as being like, we're for farmers, we're for rural Americans, when they've never not been for like the William F. Buckley contingent. It's always been those fucking capitalistic Poindexters, those Poindexters who go to elite universities because their parents bought a wing. That's always been conservatism in a nutshell. I don't know where the fuck this good old down home country boy bullshit came from. That was the one thing that really, before I had any sort of political awakening, before I started paying attention to all this, one thing that definitely struck odd with me was George W. and his whole cowboy shtick. Like, I never understood it. People were always like, in Texas, people were like, what is his accent? Like, this is weird. That's not a Texan accent. Like, it's something else. I don't know what's going on with this guy. He's like, is this his best attempt at a Texan accent? Because HW certainly didn't have a Texan accent. He was from Connecticut. Yeah, it's just weird. That whole propaganda campaign of what it means to be a conservative, and we're just out here on our ranches. Yeah, as the ranch owner, I suppose. Definitely not as the ranch hand. But I don't know. Maybe we're seeing an unraveling of that narrative. Maybe we're at the beginning of it. Oh boy. Yeah, anyways, all of that from me basically being like, I kind of want a car, but man, it's just so expensive now. There's no like $15,000 car that's like decent. That isn't like something that's 5 years old with 80,000 miles on it. I guess if I wanted a 5-year-old car with 80,000 miles, I could find something in my price point, but then I wouldn't really be escaping the situation I'm in right now with my 7-year-old car that has 104,000 miles on it. Whew. You know what else happened? Let me actually look this up because I am curious about an update on this. It popped off over the weekend about the MMA fighter Raja Jackson, who, for whatever reason, just decided to pummel the living shit out of a wrestler named Psycho Stu. So the long and short of it is basically this. There's an MMA fighter. His name is Rampage Jackson. He has a son who is also an MMA fighter named Raja Jackson. Raja Jackson, I think this wrestling outfit is, I want to say it's out of Florida, but it may not be Florida. It may be... What is... Let me see for certain where these guys are based out of. Oops. Oh, they're in LA? Okay, I didn't know they were in LA. I don't know. Whenever I see amateur wrestling, I always just associate it with Florida. Whenever I see MMA wrestling, immediately is just, oh, Florida. But, okay, so basically what happened was Raja Jackson was, I guess, being given a tour of the Knox Wrestling facility as, I guess, a show was going on. He was introduced, but he was not a part of the show. He was not a part of anything. He was just being shown around. And behind the scenes, he was introduced to a wrestler named Psycho Stu. And Psycho Stu was in character. He didn't know that Raja Jackson was not a part of the crew of the team. He wasn't there to work. He wasn't being worked in. And he thought that, oh, okay, so I got to be Psycho Stu to this new guy who we're working over. He gets in Raja Jackson's face, and then like he grabs a beer can and just kind of smashes it against his head. And Raja Jackson's like, "Yo, what the fuck is going on here?" And Psycho Stu's and his character, etc., etc. But then it's explained to him, no. We're just showing Raja Jackson around. He's not a part of the show or the thing or anything like that. And okay, huge mistake for Psycho Stu's part. He probably should, even if he truly thought that this guy was here to work and we're going to create a storyline, etc. Like, maybe get a little bit of confirmation from someone that, okay, this is what you're supposed to do, or this is what you're allowed to do with respects to like putting your hands on them, right? Like, you could talk shit, you could say whatever, but just going right off top to like smashing a beer can against the dude's head, that's a little wild. But he apologized once it was explained. He's just here to tour. He's not part of it. He's not here to, be worked in or anything like that. He apologized. He was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, man. I didn't know. I thought we were starting up a new storyline. Blah, blah, blah." They shook hands like 3 times. Raja Jackson was like, "It's cool. No worries. It's cool." And, they shook hands again. He was like, "I'm sorry. I really," and then for whatever reason, and to me, this seems like a huge fuck up on knokx Pro Wrestling's part. Like, I don't know why they thought they should have done this, but they decided to make amends. We're gonna let Raja Jackson get into the ring, and he can deliver a hit, quote unquote, to Psycho Stu as a part of like quote unquote revenge. Like they were trying to see if they could work him into the story, right? They were trying to see, okay, maybe we can offer him some kind of a way to like quote unquote get revenge in a way that we can also work into the story. Maybe this can be something. I don't know what they were thinking, but they decided to do that. So later on, and by the way, Raja Jackson is streaming all of this on, you guessed it, Kick. you guessed it. The platform with the dude that was beating the shit out of his dog. The platform that had the fucking streamers that killed that guy on stream. It's everyone's favorite Kick. He was streaming it on there, and when it came time for him to get into the ring, he gets into the ring. Psycho Stu's back is turned. He picks Stu up and slings him over his shoulder, right? Kind of like how you would take a drunk friend home, I suppose. You sling him over his shoulder, his stomach's over his shoulder and all that. I knew as soon as I saw that, I watched an edited version of this because I did not want to watch the brutality of the unedited version. But as soon as he slung him over his shoulder, I knew exactly what was going to happen, and I knew exactly how bad it was going to be. He slung him back. He slung him forward onto his back in such a way that his head, Psycho Stu's head, snapped right off the back of the mat. If you watch football, you know what concussion injuries look like. And you've seen it a million times before. A player, even with a full fucking helmet on, and everything, they will fall in such a way where they land on their back with such force that their heads snap and hit the turf. The back of their heads hit the turf, and it is lights out. Immediately. Lights fucking out. That's when you see dudes just standing, like just lying there. Their arms are like stiff upward, or you'll see them start to like, they call it fencing, when like their fingers start to crinkle up all creepy like and shit. Like that's usually what happens when you see someone who hits the back of their head like that against the ground. And that in and of itself is enough. That is more than enough. But that was just the prelude to what this dude was up to. And by the way, again, he was streaming all this on Kick. Before he got into the ring, he said to his audience, "Hey y'all, they want me to go in and just give him a hit, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do something else. I'm not going to stop until they pull me off of him." That's what he said to his audience that he was streaming to. Right before he slides in, grabs the guy, snaps the back of his head against the mat, which, by the way, knocked him out stone cold right away. Like it does with football players wearing full pads and helmets. When your head bounces off of the floor like that, it's lights out. So this dude was already gone. by the time he decided to mount up on his chest and just start raining punches right on the guy's fucking dome, one after another, at least 25, 26 times in a row. And these aren't like kitty punches too. This guy was like trying to fucking knock out Thanos with these punches to an unconscious dude. And it's crazy. Like, I can understand. No, you know what? I can't even understand. These guys know this dude's not a wrestler, right? Like, he's just some guy. He came in just to like get a hit in or whatever. You don't know if he knows how to properly like slam somebody. You don't know if he knows how to, I guess, fake a punch or pull a punch or make it. You don't know if this guy knows fucking shit about any of this. And the second that you see him sling Stu over his shoulder, you should have sent dudes in to stop it, because he wasn't gonna do the right thing. It wasn't going to end very well. And the second you saw him slam Stu and Stu's head bounce off of that mat, again, you should have sent dudes in there right away. The fact that it took them so long to like get this guy, and by the way, even when they started to pull this guy off of Psycho Stu, like, it was very, they were. I mean, I guess I can understand why, but it seemed like they were very afraid of this guy. Like, they were very tepid and timid about like, hey, stop that, stop, hey, you're hurting him, get off of him. Like they were going in with that kind of energy when they should have like fucking Goldberg tackled this dude and like had 7 or 8 guys like pinning him to the fucking floor. So he got in a bunch of hits just because like the wrestling crew were super fucking late to react. And then when they did react, they reacted with not the right level of energy to fucking stop this guy from welling on an unconscious dude. So Stu is in the ring. He's beyond lights out. Like, blood is everywhere. This guy just beat the shit out of him. And somehow he was allowed to just walk away because, again, he's streaming all of this on Kick. So he gets pulled off. He walks away. And as he's walking down the street, he's just blathering some shit about, I'm tired of people messing with me. I'm not a bitch, which is literally the most bitch-made thing you could literally do and say. Like, never heard of this guy before this. Didn't know anything about him. Wouldn't have thought much of him. But after seeing this shit, like, this was his reaction. And again, I have to remind you, it was fucked up that a dude hit him in the head with a beer can, but they explained the situation. He explained why he was confused by it. He apologized profusely. They shook hands. They had an agreement. Like, this shit should have been squashed then and there. So the fact that this dude still let that shit bother him to that degree, to where like he was like, hey stream, hey chat, I'm gonna do a murder. Watch this. Like, one, super bitch made. The fact that like, even after all of this, he's still like, I'm tired of people playing with me. I'm tired. He's like crying. Walking down the street crying about people playing with me. I'm tired of people playing with me. I ain't no bitch. It's like, 2, fucking super mega bitch made. So he's walking down the street like doing that shit. And then he gets called up by one of his homies who's like, yo, what the fuck is going on? Like, they're saying they can't wake the dude up. They can't wake him up. They're saying, and they use the word flatline, like he's flatlined. And his response to that was, my bad. This motherfucker ostensibly killed a man in the ring, and they're saying, what did you do? And he goes, my bad. 3, supremely omega level bitch made shit. So I don't understand. And I think that, as he was walking out, the wrestlers were like, they were trying to keep him around. Like, they were goading him, like, wanting to try to, I guess, keep him present and barking. I assume because they wanted him around for the police, for when the police showed up. I don't understand how police didn't get there. I mean, that's LA, so cops don't give a shit. But somehow he just walks free. And I think he still hasn't been arrested. Like, he's still out there just roaming around like a fucking pit bull, like some fucking rabid pit bull. it's kind of the craziest thing I've ever heard. I think the last update, yeah, he hasn't been arrested yet, which is fucking insane. It's all just download the VOD, LAPD. What investigations do you need? I guess as far as investigating, the only thing I guess they want to dot their I's and cross their T's on is making sure that this really was an unjustified, premeditated assault, and it isn't part of some wrestling script. I guess they're trying to make sure, like, okay, we don't want to be used to put knokx wrestling or whatever this thing's called on the map by buying into this storyline that they've concocted. If that's what the root of their investigation is, then okay, sure. But literally everything else, you could just download the Kick VOD. Although I have to imagine Kick probably deleted it. I don't even know if they banned this guy. I'm guessing they banned him. Maybe, but it's Kick. Who knows? They probably just highlighted them as their top streamer. But you can just watch the video and see everything that happened from start to finish if that's what the gist of your investigation is going to need to know what happened. But as of today, I guess the last update is well, actually, let me see. This may not be up to date here. Let me oh wait, hold on. What was that? I just clicked away and it just in response to the footage, the live streaming platform Kick has suspended Raja Jackson's account. The company cited a violation of its community guidelines, which prohibits the streaming of excessive violence. Well, so they did take some form of action. That's kind of surprising. I'm not used to Kick actually giving any kind of shit. But I mean, it's probably just, it's legal shit covering their own asses. They don't give a shit if anybody dies on their platform. Let me see. Stuart Smith, aka Psycho Stu, was mauled during a personal. Initial reports were positive that Smith was recovering well. Teams reported. Rampage Stu, blah, blah, blah. His brother Andrew Smith wrote on Facebook that he is currently in stable but critical care. Thank you everyone for your prayers, concerns, and kind words for my brother Stu, he wrote. Please continue to keep him in your prayers. Andrew Smith also wrote that there was not a GoFundMe account set up, contrary to reports. So somebody probably set up a GoFundMe to fucking scam people. Which, again, in this dystopian hellscape of modern America is like the most common thing in the world to do. Is just scam people. You're not gonna retire unless you scam someone, guys. Hate to break it to you, but there is no retirement for you if you haven't scammed at least a few dozen senior citizens out of their retirement. All the money is tied up with the boomers. You got to scam the boomers to get the money from them. That's the millennial retirement plan. It's the backside of the Beekeeper movie. To see him like this pains my heart, said Jonovan, along with a photo of Stewart in the hospital. I believe that knokx Pro is at fault for these events. Yes, for sure. To have allowed this to happen is beyond belief. Honestly, I'm upset. Prior to the fight, the two men got into an apparent altercation as the vehicle. Smith had slammed a beer on Jackson's head, seeming to think that he was setting up a storyline for the show. The two men were later seen making amends, a live stream showed. That's not an update on his condition. I'm trying to get an update on his condition. I want to see where things stand with respects to his recovery. See if this has. Andrew Smith wrote in a Sunday late night Facebook post, he added in a Monday update that Smith is, quote, conscious and does have some recollection of events from the day of the attack. I guess that's good. That's good that he has some recollection at least. Smith was the victim of an alleged assault. I don't think it was alleged, man. I don't think it was alleged at all. He was the victim of an assault. We all saw it. that was captured live on streaming platform Kick over the weekend. In the now viral video, Jackson, the son of former UFC light heavyweight champion Quentin Rampage Jackson, can be seen entering the ring at the event, hoisting Smith above his head and then slamming him hard with the bat and unloading more than 20 unanswered punches to the head of the seemingly unconscious Smith before being forcibly ripped away by a swarm of other wrestlers. Oh boy. Yeah, the other thing to note about Psycho Stu is that he wrestles as a way to deal with his PTSD. He is a former Army veteran who came back from, I think, Iraq, but I'm not for sure where, with PTSD. So he has talked himself about how he uses wrestling to help manage the PTSD. But I have a fear after this weekend's event. I think that there's going to be unfortunate amount more PTSD associated with the wrestling ring, which is sad, which is really, really sad. In addition to just the potential lifelong ramifications of intense levels of brain damage. I mean, we need to talk about the CTE aspect of it, but even beyond CTE, just again, I'm very glad that he's conscious and he's, speaking and aware of things that have happened. Like, that's big steps in recovery from this. I don't understand how that dude is still walking free. I mean, it's a dangerous proposition to have him up and about. If not only for the fact that he's probably a flight risk at this point. He has to know prison time is, I can't imagine him getting away without serving time in prison. Just, I can't see that happening. There's too much evidence of the assault being premeditated, the just sheer brutality of it. It's too much for him not to end up in a fucking prison. Douglas Mallow, a wrestler on the show who helped stop Jackson's alleged attack. Stop saying alleged. I get why they have to say alleged, but it's not alleged, man. We saw the attack. It happened. He was attacked. He told USA Today on Monday that Smith lost, quote, a lot of teeth and suffered several broken bones in his face. He was choking on his own blood and teeth, Mallow said. Somebody reminded me there's kids there, and then I was like, oh my God. That kid sitting there like, are you okay? Was that real? What's happening? Why didn't anybody help? You could see the fear on his face. Everybody in that audience should also, regardless of whether this guy goes to prison or not, he should go to prison for a very long time for this. On top of that, everybody in the audience should sue that man. Should sue him for subjecting them and subjecting their kids to just like an insane level of psychotic violence. Like, this dude should never walk the streets free again. And I'm not someone who usually is opposed to the concepts of retribution and or rehabilitation and all of that stuff. I don't see it on this guy, man. The level of premeditation, the complete and total lack of care for the dude he just fucking wrecked, the complete absence of empathy to any degree, like just the conniving nature of the fact that he shook his hand 3 times and said it was cool and then still felt compelled to do this. It would be one thing if he shook his hand and said, all right, it's cool. And then when he got in the ring, instead of delivering a fake punch, he delivered to his face or whatever. He delivered a real punch or a real slap or whatever. Okay, that's super shitty, but whatever. It's whatever, right? And yeah, a single punch can still be deadly, but it's whatever. At least the guy was facing you. You looked him in the eye, you punched him, etc. Whatever. It would be one thing if it was that. It would be one thing. It would even be another different thing if everything unfolded the way they did up until the point where he got in the ring and he picked him up and he slammed him. And then, like, that was it. Again, back of the head, bouncing off the mat, super, super dangerous, super fucked up. But if that was the end of it, if that was it, it's like, all right, well, he wanted to do a wrestling move. He's not a trained wrestler. He made a dumb mistake. Whatever. Okay, you might even be able to squeeze out some leniency on that front. It might be even another thing if they shook hands. He said it was cool. He got to the ring. He picked him up. He slammed him. And he got into his face. And he punched him once or whatever. Even then, even with that, I would be willing to go, okay, he did the wrestling move. He got in his face. He probably didn't realize he was knocked out. He thinks that, okay, I slammed him. He knows he's a wrestler. He knows how to take a fall. I'm going to make sure I get a lick in at least. If the fall didn't hurt him because he's a wrestler and he knows how to fall, I'm going to make sure I get a lick in. So, I could at least even go that far and be like, all right, that's incredibly shitty. And the dude probably still needs to serve jail time, but, whatever. I could even make sense of that. Knowing that he said to the camera while he was streaming, they want me to hit him once. I'm going to keep hitting him until they pull me off of him. And then he went and did that and showed zero remorse afterwards, zero care. He was just crying and bitching about how people are playing with him or whatever. Fuck this dude. He does not need to be in society. He does not need to be in society, man. He does not need to be in society. Put him in prison. Don't care how many decades he's in there. Just make sure it's multiple. Sue him for every penny he's worth. Sue his dad, too. Fuck, man. Sue that whole fucking family line. Like, it is insane. It is insane to think that there are... And the guy is a fucking walking weapon. He's a walking Desert Eagle, basically. You get trained in MMA or martial arts or anything like that, you have the ability to inflict untold amounts of pain on anybody. Doesn't matter who they are. Certainly on random people, but even on other trained fighters or athletes or whatever. You're basically training yourself to be a killing machine. And there is a tremendous amount of I guess, responsibility that comes with that. That's one of the, like, if you watch any movie or TV show from the 90s where some kid who gets bullied ends up learning martial arts and they want to learn martial arts so that they could beat ass, right? But then they have the wise old sensei who tells them, no, martial arts is not for beating ass. Martial arts is to give you the discipline that you need from within so that you know not to beat ass, so that you know how to control your anger, how to use your opponent's anger against them. If you need to defend yourself, you can use the discipline that you have studied and learned to defend yourself. But you must always be mindful of, it teaches this whole inner peace sort of thing, this real Buddhist or Taoist understanding of your inner self and how to be disciplined, right? That's the whole idea behind learning martial arts as someone who just pursues it for the purpose of becoming a weapon. And what this guy exhibited was pure Cobra Kai shit, I guess, right? And I fear, and one of the many reasons why I don't like MMA, I like boxing, I don't like MMA. I fear that the whole subculture, the whole MMA subculture that is so deeply intertwined with all that red pill shit has concocted an entire generation of fucking pissed off micro penis bitch made dudes like this guy who have trained themselves into becoming weapons but have the mental capacity of like 6-year-olds. It's just like children with shotguns, basically. Like, if ever there is a fucking mechanism with which to potentially put a cap on this shit, it's coming down hard as hell on this guy for what he did. And I hope that's what happens. I hope that's what happens. The fact that he still hasn't even been arrested yet doesn't give me a great deal of hope, but hey, I guess we'll see. We'll have to stay tuned to that. Oh boy. There was another thing I did want to talk about, but it slipped my mind as I got into the whole Raja Jackson thing. Oh, I don't know if I'm gonna talk about this here on this episode, or if I'm gonna maybe talk about it on the stream to show the video, because this requires video viewing. I did see this. I guess YouTube has secretly used AI to edit people's videos, which is crazy. Like, it's one thing if they were asking for people's consent. If there was like a pop-up that was telling people, "Oh, you uploaded a new short. Do you want to use YouTube AI algorithm to artificially smoothen and up-res and whatever your video? Yes, or don't do that. Click this checkbox," and then you could opt out of it. It would be one thing if it was that. But the fact that they did this without people's consent, without people's knowledge, and other people had to fucking find it and investigate on their own to figure out what was going on, is absurd for a variety of reasons. So I watched this video. Who posted the video? Let me see if I can find. The YouTube creator who first talked about this. Is it Rhett Scholl?
Okay, I want you to watch these two videos and tell me if you see the difference between them.
Yeah, Rhett Scholl.
That's one of your riffs.
So he posted this video, and there was a BBC article about it too, but I totally missed the BBC article. But he posted this video where he basically is showing these two videos back to back, because somebody uploaded the same video to Instagram and to YouTube Shorts. And he's showing what it looks like on Instagram, which is the normal video, and he's showing what it looks like on YouTube Shorts. And the YouTube Shorts one, it looks like AI. It looks deep faked, which is super fucked up. It's not. It's a real video. It's guys in a studio talking and shit, but it's run through the YouTube sausage grinder to make it look like it's generative AI, which is deplorable. Like, they're going to create an environment where actual real people create actual real art that nobody will be able to discern from slop AI content, not because slop AI content has gotten that good, but because they're shitifying real creators' work against their will to look as bad as slop AI. That is fucking unconscionable. Like, the one thing that we have going for shitty AI, at least, is our ability to easily tell what it is. We could look at it and be like, AI content, and then skip past it. I think this, if I was going to read into a cynical reason as to why this exists, I would say it probably exists because YouTube doesn't want you to do that. They don't want you to go, this is AI slop, and skip. They want you to be just as fucking confused about, is this AI or is this actually Rhett whatever uploading something that he made? And you're not going to be able to tell, not because AI has gotten that good, because they can't get it to get that good just yet, but because they just made everybody else's thing shittier. And how infuriating does that have to be if you're a content creator who spent thousands of dollars on fucking cameras? You've got the fucking Ronin Ninja shit 4D thing, and it's a dope ass camera. You've got some fucking baller ass lighting. You've got a crew of dudes working the camera, working the lights, and all the other things to make your shit look really, really good. You've got an editor that is sitting there throwing the raw footage into DaVinci Resolve or After Effects or Premiere or whatever, Final Cut Pro, and they're doing all the color correction. They're cleaning up the footage. They're adding in really cool looking effects where it would make sense to add a cool looking effect. And then you craft this perfect video. It's got artistry from all over the place. The artistry of your DP who just knows how to set the shots perfectly. They've got the perfect depth of film, going with the perfect lens that they used for this shot and the perfect composition. They got the lighting just right. You got all these different types of lights that are being properly diffused with different types of diffusers, and your expert with lighting he's up on a ladder trying to get it right, or he's doing all sorts of shit with light. Lighting is not a strong suit of mine, so I can't even pretend to bullshit my way around what a lighting expert would fucking do other than get on a ladder and fiddle with some shit. But you got some guy that you're paying to do that. He knows how to do it. You spent the money. He spent the money on $1,000 equipment to make sure the lighting is fucking peak. You've got your editor who God knows what projects they've worked on before. They've cut their teeth on Hollywood films, A24 films, or TV commercials that everybody loves and remembers, or whatever else they may have cut their teeth on. They went to UT Film School. Oh shit, they've got a little bit of prestige behind them. They know how to work their way through some editing software. They're doing great color correction. They're doing some great, whatever else they may need to do to make it look top notch. You got the artistry of all these different people put this piece of film together, quote unquote film. It's digital, but we still say film. They put this piece of film together, and it's like, good work, men. Good work, and women, or NBs, whoever might be a part of the crew here. We're inclusive. We're very inclusive on set. I don't want to discriminate against anyone, and I don't want any lawsuits. So disregard how I first introduced this segment. But kudos to all. Everything looks brilliant. Everything looks great. You're all a testament to your craft. I'm going to make sure that we upload this. We're going to have a watch party. I'm going to upload it to YouTube right now. We have a watch party down at the Driscoll. Or maybe we'll do it at Alamo Draft House. I'm going to put it up. Big theater screen. I'm going to invite all friends and family to come watch it. Friends and family only. We're going to have an open bar. We're an open bar. We're going to celebrate this thing, right? Open bar? Hell yeah. Let's go. One more time. Round of applause for everybody. This is going to look great. I saw it. I saw it in the booth. The final cut. It looks great. So let me hit upload right now. And let's all go down to Draft House. We're going to watch this. And you go there, and they pop this bitch. They pop this bitch up on the fucking theater screen. You've got friends and family. You're all chugging open bar booze. And the first thing you see is some mid-journey looking ass shit. Like something that looks fucking gross. In this Rhett Shell video, he shows a short by... Who is this? Good Mythical Morning. Good Mythical Morning, who is a huge content creator. I mean, I've seen his shit at random, so I'm definitely familiar with this guy and what his shit usually looks like. He shows a short from Good Mythical Morning that was run through this AI thing that makes it look fucking garbage. It looks like AI. It looks awful. And it's like, why would anyone ever consent to this? This looks terrible. Like, this looks terrible. But, like, again, I feel like the reason why they're doing this is so that they could elevate their shit. the shitty part, the shitty AI videos that they want people to ascribe to more, because then they can just create whatever AI slop they want without having to fucking pay anybody. So, like, again, it all comes down to who you don't want to pay. But this looks like shit. This looks like garbage. Like, the colors are all like, everything looks plasticky. The way that AI makes everything look plasticky and glossed over, like the colors are so saturated. It looks awful. It looks awful. And imagine you put all of your hard work and effort and artistry into creating a fucking masterwork that you're going to show off to everybody, and the first thing that pops up is something that looks all plasticky and color saturated and AI fake. Like, how would you even feel about that at that moment? I can't imagine the level of fucking anger, the level of embarrassment. I would feel embarrassed if that was the first thing that popped up. But then also it's like, who gave YouTube the right to fucking drastically visually alter the piece of content that I put up? It's one thing if YouTube is like, we don't agree with the content you put up, so we're going to region block it, or we're just going to block it altogether. No one's going to be able to watch your video. It's one thing if it was that. Like, that's whatever. You can have your fights over that. But to like purposely edit your content, to purposely go in and make it look different than your intended desire without your consent, I still can't wrap my mind around it. And people were talking or yelling, I guess, at the AI, at YouTube's AI responder guy on Twitter. It's called like YouTube Insider or something like that. I'm guessing it's an AI because like all of the responses sound like it's AI generated. And he's trying its hardest to like convince people that it's not AI. Here's one of the things it says. No Gen AI, no upscaling. We're running an experiment on select YouTube shorts that uses traditional machine learning technology to traditional machine learning technology. So AI, that's just another word for machine learning. Or another, yeah, it's just AI. To unblur, denoise, and improve clarity in videos during processing, similar to what a modern smartphone does when you record a video. Okay, that's already bullshit right there. That's already bullshit right there. Because, by the way, it's not just a fucking smartphone that people upload videos from. Again, you can create a video from a $2,000 Ronin camera if you wanted to. So you can't just be like, and that's what this is. This is trying to excuse it as, well, it's just doing what your phone does. You don't have a problem when your phone does it, but when we do it, you get upset. Hypocritical much, huh? That's basically what that bullshit line is allotting to right there. But it isn't even accurate because it's doing, not only is it doing more than that, but even in doing that in and of itself, it's still altering the content without the creator's consent. It's still altering the content because what if the purpose of the video was to have noise? What if somebody uploaded a video that was like, hey guys, here it's Devin here today. I'm going to show you how to denoise and improve clarity in your videos using DaVinci Resolve. First, let me show you what this video looks like with the noise and the blur. And now I'm going to show you how to manually remove this in DaVinci Resolve. You upload that video, you're going to cook your own fucking content. You're going to cook your own shit because the first video is going to be all fucked up. Well, the whole video is going to be fucked up and AI looking, but you're not going to be able to see the difference that I'm trying to demonstrate if this shit's going to pave over based off of whatever fucking bullshit notion they think they're basing it off of. He continues, YouTube was always working on ways to provide the best video quality and the experience possible. And well, you could provide the best video quality by just making sure that your video pipelines consistently stream at 1080p. That's all you need to do. And then tell people, hey, if you want clear videos, upload at 1080p. We'll make sure it always stays at 1080p. You've got big, broad pipes. But there is also some speculation that that part of the purpose of this is not to make the videos clear, but to make the file sizes smaller so it takes up less space. Like, they're just trashing your fucking 60 gigabyte upload and quashing it down into like a 12 gigabyte upload and saying that the reason why it's that now is because they made it quote unquote clearer. YouTube is always working on ways to provide the best video quality and experience possible and will continue to take creator and viewer feedback into consideration as we iterate and improve on these features. Like, these are features that literally nobody asked for. Oh my goodness. And then somebody replied to him just basically saying, you should be ashamed of yourself. This is still AI. And the tech shit responded, hi, I'm a tech nerd, and I try to be precise about the terminology I use. Gen AI typically refers to technologies like transformers and large language models, which are relatively new. Upscaling typically refers to taking one resolution, like SD 480p, and making it look good at a higher resolution, like HD 1080p. This isn't using Gen AI or doing any upscaling. It's using the kind of machine learning you experience with computational photography on smartphones, for example, and it's not changing the resolution. And sincerely appreciate the feedback. Again, machine learning is just a different way of saying AI. So it is using AI, and it is using generative AI because what it's generating is what it thinks is a smooth version of the fucking video you upload. It has to use your video as a frame of reference to determine how it's going to re-render to make it look smooth. So it is using generative AI. As far as the upscaling, I don't know. But even if it did upscale, that would be AI. If it didn't upscale, then it's nothing because it's not upscaling. But I can't determine if it's upscaling or not. All I could tell is that it's making shit look like plastic, you know. And if you make somebody's content look like plastic, then you're probably doing something generative to it. I haven't seen, like, we've seen upreses being done in the past on movies. Like, you have some movie that was released in 1980. And then there's like a high resolution re-release on Blu-ray or whatever in 2002. And we see what that looks like when it's quote unquote up-resed. And I don't recall any of those ever looking plasticky. I don't recall them ever looking at those and being like, this has an uncanny valley quality to it. Everything is shitty now, man. Why is everything shitty? Everything is shitty. Every company is shitty. Every politician is shitty. Everything that everything that you engage with in commerce to one degree or another is shitty. Everything is just super shitty now. And I don't know how to I don't know how to fix it. I don't know how to fix it. How do you fix it? How do you stop everything from just bulldozing full steam ahead into like the shittiest thing you've ever seen? Like, a part of it is just, I mean, a huge part of it is just the monopolization aspect of it. Like, what are you going to do? Not upload your short films to YouTube? Where are you going to upload them? Vimeo? You think Vimeo has the same audience reach that YouTube has? What are you gonna do? It's kind of like the streaming stuff, right? Like, oh, you're not gonna stream on Twitch. Where are you gonna stream? YouTube? I mean, I guess you can, but YouTube streaming is a drastically different thing than Twitch streaming, and those are really the only competitors, Twitch and YouTube. I guess you could go to Kick if you wanted to fucking murder a man on stream, but other than that, you only got two choices. You know, one monopoly, or it's really technically an oligopoly. You have one oligopolic force in Amazon, or the other one in Google. Google or Amazon. You know, and you better believe that the two of them go to lunch and talk about their fucking strategies together, whether they want to admit it or not. It's all, I mean, the reason why you have an oligopoly is collusion. It's to take away as much option of choice from consumers as possible so that it doesn't make a difference. It doesn't make a difference whether you stream on one platform or the other, because it's all going to shit. It's all really shitty. It doesn't make a difference if you buy Pepsi over Coca-Cola or whatever, because they're all shitifying their services. Like, I mean, maybe soda's a little bit, maybe no, soda isn't different. They change their recipes all the time. It's like, we're just going to cut back. We're going to put 60% less whatever in it, and it's going to be mostly water, and we're still going to call it Coke. And it's like, oh, this Coke tastes weird. Everybody has had a situation where they've gone to a restaurant that they used to eat at a lot, and it's like, oh, this tastes different. This doesn't taste as good. Nobody has ever gone to a restaurant they liked. Like, if you found a restaurant and it's like, oh, this food's amazing. I'm going to eat here at least once a week. And you do that for like a year, and then you stop. and then you go back after a few months and you eat, very rarely, or maybe you go back after a year, give it some time. Go back after a year and you get the same thing you used to get. Very, very rarely is it ever, oh, this tastes even better than when I had it before. What the hell? What? Kudos to the chef. This is great. Very rarely is it that. Unless it's like a small restaurant that only has like 1 or 2 locations in a specific region. If it's like any kind of sizable business, then no, it's always going to be, this doesn't taste as good as it used to. This tastes weird. They changed their recipe. Like, well, why'd they change their recipe? They changed their recipe because everything goes to shit. They need to make it cheaper. We got to make this cheaper. And I don't mean cheaper for you. I mean cheaper for us to make. We're going to make it more expensive for you to buy. We're raising the prices, but we're going to make it cheaper for us to construct. So that high quality flour that we were using to make our bread, yeah, we're not even making our own bread anymore. Fuck that shit. We found some bargain basement baker somewhere in the middle of like Potomka, Alaska, and they're just shipping us as much cheap bread as possible. So we're saving so much money. I mean, the bread's garbage, but we're saving so much money. So we're doing that. we used to get our ground beef from Texas, like grass-fed, good quality Texan ground beef. But that shit got too expensive. So now we're getting beef product from we're getting beef product from Ohio. Okay, it's beef enough. Okay, don't ask questions. It's beef enough. Like, that's the kind of shit that you would expect to happen at, restaurants. It's a pretty common thing, considering how hard it is for a restaurant to stay profitable, if it even reaches profitability. But now that's just everything, literally everything. It's anything involving the internet. If you have an internet service of any sort, it's getting shitty. We talked about streaming services during the John Campea thing. Like, streaming services are getting shittier. Cars, I guess the prices are shittier. I haven't driven a new car in a while, so I don't know, maybe the ride. I don't know, maybe if I get in one of these cars, I'm like, you know what? I was wrong. This feels like a $35,000 car. Yeah, this is totally justified. This is a totally justified price tag. I doubt it, especially like when I see how cheaply made so many of those cars are. Every car has the same interior too. They all have the same cheap plastic. They all use the same shitty windows up and windows down automatic buttons. They all have the same shitty dashboard. Now a lot of them have the same fucking iPad mount or touchpad mount, basically. Like, they all look shitty. That's the thing that made me laugh the most about people showing off their Maseratis. You'd have all these dudes on like TikTok. I don't know if they still do it. Definitely more so like 2 or 3 years ago. People on TikTok would be like, hey, check out my Maserati. I'm in my Maserati. And I guess Maserati was supposed to be some kind of like a prestigious brand. But I look in their interiors and it's like, look, guy, all of your buttons and shit, everything in your interior is literally the exact same that was in my Chrysler PT Cruiser. And I mean that literally because they use Chrysler interior decals, buttons, upholstery, all that shit. Like, they took because Maserati, I believe, I don't know if they were owned by, I don't know what the fuck that company's called. Stellantis? Was it Stellantis at the time, or was it like Daimler Chrysler or whatever? They were all under the same umbrella. And so they used all of the, like, Dodge, Chrysler, Maserati, they all recycled the same fucking buttons and shit that they would use for their interiors. So, like, you would have these dudes that were thinking they were in these, prestigious performance luxury vehicles, but everything that they physically interact with while they're inside their car was all the same shit I physically interacted with inside my $9,000 PT Cruiser. So I always thought that was funny. I laughed whenever I saw those Maserati videos, but yeah, I mean, I guess that was also an enshitification of a luxury brand. Who created Maserati? Italian luxury vehicle, 1914 in Bologna, Spain. The company has been owned by Stellantis since 2021. Okay. That sounds right. That sounds right. It must have been 2022 or 2023 when people were showing off their fucking Chrysler PT Maseratis. Is Stellantis even still a publicly viable company? Every couple months, I feel like I see an article about like Stellantis on the verge of collapse, and it never seems to happen. So I don't Oh, geez, all these are down. Red arrows pointing down. Production output down. Revenue down. Operating income down. Net income down. Total assets up. Total equity down. Maybe they are on the way out, but we'll see. They own Abarth. I've never heard of them, but that's Italian. Alfa Romeo, heard of them for sure. Chrysler, heard of them. Citroen, Dodge, DS Automobiles. I have not heard of DS Auto. That isn't Derek Automotive, is it? No, good. No, it is not Derek Automotive. Different spirit or distinct series. Okay, interesting. Have not heard of them before. Fiat, Jeep, Lancia, Maserati, Opel, Peugeot, Ram trucks, and Valhall. Literally just about every name I just read, in my view, has more prestige than Maserati. I would much rather drive a Peugeot or a Lancia even, or maybe not a Fiat. Citroen for sure. I mean, I used to watch WRC, so all of those brands I'm familiar with from rally racing. All right, I think that's probably all I have to talk about tonight. Again, I never know what I'm going to talk about when I hit the start recording button. I mean, less so tonight than last week, because at least last week I had like a list of things to talk about, and this week I didn't. I was super unprepared, but hey, I guess I had stuff to talk about anyways. So I hope Psycho Stu recovers. I hope Raja Jackson lands in a deep dark prison cell. Nicola Coster-Waldau would prefer if you moved on from hating the ending of Game of Thrones. Yeah, I'm sure a lot of those guys would prefer that. It was expected, he said, the backlash. How are you ever going to make it in that's going to satisfy everyone? That's a very difficult thing. I absolutely think people are entitled to whatever opinion they have, but it's a television show. Someone told you a story and you didn't like the ending. It's really annoying, but I agree. And I was never anybody that paid any level of attention to like the outrage of how that show ended. Even if it did end poorly, I was just like, all right, well, you know what? They gave me 4 phenomenal seasons of television in those first 4 seasons. They gave me about 2 fairly decent seasons of television in season 5 and season 6. They gave me a okay but relatively forgettable season 7. I literally can't remember much of season 7 at all, but I don't recall hating it. And then a bad season 8. All right, sure, whatever. It's whatever. I got what I needed out of it, so I'm good. Much in line with the same conversation around George R. R. Martin finishing those books. I'm good. All right, that's it for me, y'all. Thank you for joining me again this week. I will be back the same time next week, so I'll catch y'all then. Take it easy.